I got four of a kind on everything. I gotta live like a king. Hey, catch this rhythm. You feel that? That's called playerism. I'm on the scene, a player clean, poker face, four queens. I got four of a kind on everything. Dig this, living elite. I don't feel complete without kicking at my feet in a Rolls Royce every week. Baby, this is deep. Listen close when I speak. I need to at least, cause I'm too much. I'd be a fool if I love him, You'll be a fool if you trust him, Here with my niggas, we keeping it gangsta. Yeah, I'm a slayer, I'm just keeping it player. I'm fucking her now, we're man eating it later. That's maybe why he is a hater. I'm wearing all black like I'm being a raider. You talk to police, we call you a traitor. I'm running the city, they call me for favors. I'm running the city, they call me the mayor. It's getting political with me, my street presidential, she give me the Quit banging my line, ho. Quit banging my line, ho. When you see me act like you don't even know me, ho. When you see me act like you don't even know me, ho. Come on, baby, get a clue. How you do what you do? How do you fall in love with me, but I'm not in love with you? Peace to the saints! Peace to the saints! Peace to the saints. It's the big homie, the one and only Fax Kellerman, Stephen A. PM. Your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber, the gorgeous gangster, the handsome hustler. And today we have a phenomenal interview. Ladies and saints, may I present to you Banky Pound. Give them the intro. Let them know what it is.
Salute to TBP out there, man. I'm Banky Pound. Banky Pound YouTube, 33 years of prison stories. I'm out here with the man himself, the myth, the legend, the saint in the center.
You dig. Banky, I'm so excited for this conversation because you're one of the realest ones out there. And though you're very humble, we have to admit you mess around, did 33 years, came out the box, and now you on Vlad TV, you on No Jumper and all the rest of it. And that's a meteoric rise. How did you do that? Who are you that you came out the box and now you like that?
I don't know, man. I'm just me, man. I stay authentically myself. Been blessed. I'm on a path that I didn't know I was going on, man. But once I got on it, I'm gonna stay for the ride. I enjoy it. I feel like I'm helping people, and that's the most gratifying part of it. And I just been blessed, man. This YouTube has brought me to a lot of people, man. Most of the people that I've met have, came to me and they got to know me through the YouTube. They resonated with my stories, my struggle, my pain, and they reached out to me. And from knowing this person to that person, next thing you know, I'm on No Jumper, then I'm on Vlad, now I'm on the Saint in the Center.
The real one's gonna survive. You dig? Now, do forgive me. We will be cutting you off periodically, only because you've done so many interviews and the people know a lot of things. We want to dig into the things that they might not know. So everyone, forgive me. I have tremendous respect for Banky, but we might cut you off periodically just to hop into some other things.
On Cash App, George said peace to the saints, and we have Jalen said the one and only peace to the saints, and thank you, Marquett.
Truly a pleasure, and you guys gonna get to know Banky Pound today. It's phenomenal, gentlemen, a lot of good information. And Banky, I want to start off by asking you this because people already know like a little bit of the background, but you did 33 years. And the first thing that comes to my mind is like, damn, I know a lot of people that done time. I don't know many that's done 33. You heard me? Like once you get past the 25 mark, it's pretty much you might not be getting out. You did 33. A lot of cats, they might get sentenced to a certain number, but they only do 10, they do 12. How you end up actually doing the whole 33 like that?
Man, I'm in Virginia, man. So one thing about it is for 35, I think 35 plus years, they had the lowest parole rate in the country.
Wow.
They was paroling like 2% of the people. So, unfortunately, when I was in there, I was caught up in that mix as well. So, I went in, first time in 87, came out in 2020.
Wow. And I want everyone to really understand the seriousness of not only how much time Banky did, but because that's my whole lifetime. Like you done my lifetime inside, but also the fact that we got brothers that been out for the last 30 years and they can't put it together the way you've put it together. And you guys might not know that Banky does life coaching. And I think that you as a life coach is a positive force and a powerful force because you obviously know how to do things quickly. You hear me? You didn't got out and in 2 years, here you are.
Right, right. I mean, one thing in prison you learn how to do, man, you got to learn how to cope, adapt, and adjust. You know, I went to 13 different prisons, man. Each one of them different, each block different, each cell different. So if you can't cope, adapt, and adjust, man, you won't survive. So I just applied the skills that I acquired in there to out here in life.
I hear that. Now, I know the guys got a ton of questions, and a lot of them, come down to fear. That's how human beings are. They want to know, like, when you first caught the case and you realize, well, I'm about to do 3 decades or potentially more. First off, what was the sentence?
Man, I went in with 2 life sentences, 115 years.
Like, if you come back to life, you're going to be in jail again.
Yeah, I got to go back, right? I couldn't even comprehend that off the top. I was like, man, how you going to give me 2 life sentences? I don't live but one time. So,
How old were you?
20.
And very briefly, what was the crime that you were convicted of? And I know it was actually, don't be brief. Tell it how it needs to be told. My understanding is that you actually didn't get busted. Some people was telling.
Yeah. Well, I had a co-defendant at the time, back in my younger years, man, when I was uneducated and lost, man. I was a stick-up kid, so we was pulling robberies and whatnot. This one particular robbery we pulled one night, which was outside of our usual, we hit an establishment instead of opposed to people, you know what I'm saying? So we went in the establishment, man, things went wrong. I left up out of there. Shots was fired, someone lost their life. We left, we got away. Eventually they arrested 2 other people for the crime months later. Was holding them, doing whatever. The cat that I was with, he got a change of heart, got nervous, perverse, or whatever you want to call it. He goes back and turns himself in, implicates me.
Wait. The police didn't have him. He went there voluntarily?
Yeah. He went and voluntarily turned himself in and say, oh yeah, he was with me, but I did it because, what I'm saying, I was scared of him. He made me do it. He was a ringleader. He set it up, so I said, I ain't do nothing. I don't know nothing. He, struck a deal. I end up getting, 97 years for the murder and a couple of years for the gun. Had some more robbery charges that they just tacked on for extra leverage. And at the time, it was a new law coming out called the 3-strike law. So
right, yeah, we had that in California.
Yeah, that means if you get convicted of 3 of the same crimes, then you're not even eligible for parole. So by me already sitting on over 100 years, if I get convicted of one more, then I ain't never getting out. So that therein came the plea bargain.
Let me, before we get into the plea bargain, how much time did he end up getting after basically ratting?
I think to be honest with you, I'm not completely sure, but I think he has in some like 60 some years. But he ended up doing like 26.
Okay. So he ended up serving 26 and getting out. So he got out like 5 years shy when you got out.
Yeah, like 6 or 7 years before I did.
Okay. Wow. I ain't even gonna ask you how you feel about him. I ain't gonna ask you what you're gonna do. I be hearing Vlad ask people that. I ain't gonna ask you that because that's your personal business. Okay. I think everybody watching know how they feel, and I know how I feel. I ain't gonna ask you how you feel or what you gonna do or what you would do. I just know how I feel about it. And that's crazy too, because he was so weak-hearted that them boys ain't even pick him up, and he didn't showed up to their spot like a Jehovah's Witness.
For sure. Knocked on the door, man.
If that ain't a snitch, I don't know what is. I mean, that's like grade A level right there.
Yeah, man.
So then you mentioned a plea deal, and I know you had actually had a combination of a public defender and and private counsel,
right?
And you still end up with the plea deal. Now, I understand that you said the private counsel wasn't that good. Now, people are always assuming that if you pay money for a lawyer, your lawyer gonna be able to do something for you.
Right. Both of them together won't even work for wooden nickel. You know, so money could have got kept and put on my books, man, because
Wow.
yeah, they both sold me out. You know, they gave me misinformation. You know, I was told, take the deal because, it was my only chance of seeing freedom again. I was also told that, if I take the deal, I'll probably be out within 12 years because
Right.
in Virginia, anything over, I think it's 48 years, 40 some years, then you mandatory, you go up for parole in 12. But if you got
Right.
life sentences, it doesn't mean that you have to make it. They never have to give you parole. You understand? So I'm thinking, listening to him, never being in the system or nothing like that before, that this is the reality. You know what I'm saying? So
Was
my
this your
back
first
against the
case?
wall.
Was this your first
Yeah,
case?
yeah,
This
yeah,
man. So you done went from 0 cases. This man that started on 1 million. You went from 0
yeah,
cases, and your
yeah,
first one got a body and a strap and a
yeah,
robbery.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah, and
Oh,
forever
that's
in a
a big
day
deal.
in prison.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Shout out to Daniel Rice. Thank you both for your time and deep insight. Peace of Saints. And you guys gonna get some serious insight today. You gonna learn today. Shout out to Gabriel 7 writes salutations to the panel. Peace to the saints. Shout out to Saint DS. He writes peace to the saints. What was the first thing you did in prison that maintained your safety? Did you knock out the big guy or stay low key, just interested? He tried to figure out if he got to do him a little bit. What he need to do?
I mean, well, it starts in the jail, man. I started in jail, right? Anybody that on TBP already know, these my weapons right here, my
Yeah.
weapons of choice. But so I was always good with the hands. I've been doing that since I was little. So,
Mhm.
in the jail, it starts in the jail, you set your tone, man. You get any disrespect, you do what you got to do. So I think in the jail, man, I ended up literally being in every block. I got moved out of every block for fighting, So by the
Now,
time I
Banky,
hit the
help the
penitentiary,
people out because you got to remember the penal system is a whole different world. It's the process is something that folks who have not done any time or even caught cases don't know about. So when you say jail and prison, or you talking about jail and the feds, they don't know what the difference is. You know what I'm saying? So
well,
they think when you get hit with 30, you going to jail, but
nah,
jail is different than when you're doing your time. So break that down for them real quick.
okay, well, to put it the best way, like I try to explain to people, jail is kindergarten, prison is Yale.
So it's kindergarten.
Kindergarten and Yale, that's the difference. It's a vast difference, man. I was in the jail for a minute, going back and forth to trial. So after you get sentenced and get your time or whatnot, then you get processed into the system. So jail was when you knew and you ain't really been in jail, it's all crazy. But you don't even understand the levels of crazy until you hit the prison system. So when I hit the
Right.
prison system, I'm thinking, okay, I got a grip on this. They get in my way. I knock them down. Boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. They ain't even tripping over this in the prison. They, this is a whole nother level. So when I got to prison, it was a vast different, man. I was like, this is like insanity. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Thought you was all right when you was in jail. Huh?
yeah. All that stuff in jail don't even count. It don't even go on your
Ooh.
resume.
Said you ain't got no stripes and no credit for that.
Nah, it don't even go on
Oh.
your resume, man. They don't even care nothing about that.
Look, shout out to Xavier Nash at Marquettism comes through with the support. Now tell me this. And I get this question all the time to the point where it's almost annoying. Marquette, how tall are you? How big are you? And I think it's because especially people who don't grow up in a real neighborhood, they think that it's the big guys that do do all the thumping. When
Right.
in my book, The Black Box, which folks can get on Amazon, I wrote about this cat named Joseph Earl. Man, about a cool 5'6" was
Yeah.
he 5'6". Ain't nobody want problems with him. Nobody in the
Believe that.
neighborhood wanted problems with him.
Yeah.
So when I was typing your name into Google, one of the things that pre-populates is height. Banky, what is your height and how much does any of this matter? Because you was around wolves. When you in prison, you got all the goons gathered up in one spot, so it's all the way live. Talk to the people, man.
Well, first of all, I am a whopping 5'7" and a half.
And a
You
half.
understand? And a half. You got to put that half in there, right? but you know, I have been known to be looked at as 7 feet tall, you know. So
Ooh, talk to him.
you know, yeah, it don't matter, you know, how tall you is, you know, it don't matter, you know, what color you is, it don't matter what you weigh, man. It matters what you got right here and what you willing to do, you know. So that's what it all comes
That
down
part.
to, you know, whatever you willing to do, you know. And once anybody knows what you're willing to do, then you're going to be respected, you know what I'm saying? Straight like that. It don't matter who you are. One thing I learned, and it's a life lesson, is one thing I know about a man or any human being, no one wants to die. You understand me? Because they
Wait, Banky, what you say?
no one wants to die.
Wow.
No one wants to die. This is universal. No one wants to die. That I'm often asked, they say, well, you got all these killers in prison. Why don't they beef with each other? Because if you got this dude and he known to be a killer, and you got this dude known to be a killer, if they come together, then what? They got to produce death, or the gig is up.
That's
so
what
they
the
avoid
equation
each other.
equal.
You know, they avoid each other. The respect is mutual. You know, because don't nobody want to die.
This man said a killer plus a killer equal death. Everybody know how to stay on the right side of the equation, huh?
Absolutely.
Ooh, you ain't never lied. So I want to just highlight what he said is basically, you know, if you out here talking about like, oh, well, he was big and, you know, I'm only 5'5". Look, little buddy, it's not the size of the height, it's the size of the heart. And, you know, you all gonna have to get it in. And that's the thing when you lock down, same thing out here. Ain't nobody about to be like, oh, like he's big, you're small, you guys can't fight. Nah. It ain't never fair. That's the nature of life. It's never fair, but you got to get it in, right?
Yeah, ain't no question. It ain't no rules in war, for real. That is a true statement.
Yeah,
a win is a win.
Look, we gonna even have to lay a mixtape together. We gonna have to make write a book together.
Yeah,
Look,
yes, sir.
All right, so we know why you end up going in. It was due to a cat telling, and you were a young guy. Has that taught you anything about the nature of people that you're willing to deal with or tolerate nowadays? Like, in retrospect, could you have seen that his heart was that weak? Like, tell me a little bit about that piece.
Well, back then I couldn't, you know what I'm saying? Back now, you know what I'm saying, I can, you know, because I pride myself on, you know, being able to judge a dude, man, even more so than a woman. And I say that because I was around dudes 365 days a year, 12,345 plus consecutive days. Wow. So I've seen every walk of life a man there is, every characteristic, every, you know, attitude, everything about a dude. I know him. So when I'm around him, I can feel the energy of his, you know, his genuineness. So I know, and I look a man in his eye, and I hold a man to his word. You know what I'm saying? Like I tell people all the time, like now what they see to me, this is who I am. This is who I prefer to be, you know, because I'm going to be the lawyerist dude that you ever deal with, the best friend you can ever have, if I'm getting that reciprocated. But if you come at me with that foolishness, then I guarantee you I'm going to triple that, bringing it back to you. You understand? So that's how I am. So I look at people now and I evaluate people because you have to know who you're dealing with. And when you're dealing with somebody and they're dealing with principles and morals, then that is everything to me. I respect that more than I respect anything. I can respect and know if that's what it really is, but just don't BS me. You understand? Yeah. So yeah, I evaluate people. I don't let many people in my circle, man. I really don't, you know what I'm saying? Because it ain't too many people out here who think and look at things the way I do.
That's very wise. And you speak to something I remind people of all the time, which is I pride myself on my ruthlessness, which is you said, if somebody bring it to you, you're going to bring it back to them triple. For sure. And that's just the way it got to be to keep people from playing with you. And another thing, if you could speak on, because you said, you 5'7.5", and you mentioned respect. And one thing I've always found is that the people I've seen conduct themselves with the most respect are gangsters. You know, they're not going to play with you because they know that it's real consequences for things. Now, you got any notes?
Right back to what you just said. Right back to what a killer recognized killers. No one wants to die. That's why gangsters act like that, because they know the real consequences behind playing games.
Now, one thing that's always, and thank the Lord, I ain't never really had to do no time. I'm gonna do this 2 times. I ain't even Catholic, but I'm gonna thank the Lord, because I couldn't do more than 3, Banky. I couldn't do more than 3. I'm addicted to the females. You heard me? I can't survive without them. Now, when you were going in, you were actually inside while you were going to trial. It wasn't like, oh, post bail, go home, wait till it's resolved, and then might have to go back in. You had to sit down for that whole time.
Absolutely. Once they arrested me and put me in the jail, I never saw daylight again for 33 years. I went from the jail, from being arrested, to never seeing a day of freedom again for 33 years.
Wow. That's crazy. And now one thing I want to know, and I just give you an example for myself. I just got back from out of the country. And the first thing I really wanted to do was hop in the whip and just peel out. That was the first thing that I missed. We just like, like, let me hop on the freeway and start speeding. That's what I like to do. Make me feel free. For you, when you were in there, what was one of the things that you had missed the most, maybe while you were inside? And then once you got out, what was the thing that made you say, damn, okay, now I'm back out here?
Women.
Oh yeah, that part, huh?
Yeah, that part, you know what I'm saying? For sure, that part. And other than that, food, you eat like a man, you eat like an animal in there, man. So the food is pure garbage, the conditions is garbage. So, I think the main thing that what I'm saying, like any, red-blooded American dude miss the most, what I'm saying, is a woman and, food and the company of, what I'm saying, family, and to be around, not just the company of family, but just to be around people that you ain't got to worry about if they trying to kill you tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? That, what I'm saying, just to be in a comfort zone,
Yeah.
So I
Your
think
mind's not under constant trauma of what might happen.
Right.
Yeah, I hear you.
For sure.
I hear you. And I want to let everybody know, anyone who's a lot of folks have gone through trauma. And at a certain point, there's like a stop on the trauma, whether it was childhood trauma, you were too young to defend yourself, whatever you might have suffered. But one thing I heard you say, Banky, that made me really want to bring you on, because I know a lot of cats that done time, including my mama, my daddy, my grandma, you heard me? Yeah. A lot of folks who have done time, and the cats I know that I grew up with, it's like it's a game to them when they be talking about, they got, this one essay, you heard me? Like, we is locked up and I punked him for his flip-flops, or so-and-so wouldn't take showers. We had to beat him up because he stink. And they got funny stories, they got fight stories. And one thing I respected about you is you said, I did 33 days and not one day was a happy day.
Absolutely not. And I said that on the Vlad interview, and I think it resonated with Vlad a lot because he turned around and asked Freeway Ricky Ross the same question, right? And shout out to Freeway, you know what I'm saying? I did a little collaboration with him as well. Good brother.
Mm-hmm. But straightforward, brother. A lot of cats, after they do a lot of time, they be so sober and serious and about their business.
Man. You value life, you value things more, it puts a high stock on everything. But when I say that, and I don't disagree with, his answer, the way he answered the question, because his experience is his experience. Okay. But what I would say is, the reason I say that is because all the things, like he answered the question, he said, when he went in, he was illiterate, so he learned how to read. Yeah. He accomplished a lot of things. He set his goals for what he was going to do when he got out, so he put a plan together, this, that, and the third. So prison was, was very constructive and instrumental to him. He don't think he could have did that on the street. Yeah. Now, I respect his decision, but, I went in, I wasn't illiterate, but I accomplished a lot when I was in there. I got a lot of trades, graphic design, custodial maintenance, all types of trades. I learned a lot. I read a lot of books. I think I developed the mindset that I have now. I had visits, my family came to see me, my kids, all of that. But at the end of every one of those days, my dude, I was locked up in a cell at the end of the day. Right. So, when you hear a lot of people say those statements, they say them little cliche at the end of the day, well, at the end of the day, I was incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, at the end of the day, everything else was muted. I had good moments, but it was not a good day, because at the end of the day, I locked up in a cell. I was without my liberty. I was without my freedom. I was without my choices. So it wasn't a good day. You know what I'm saying? Even with a visitation, you have to see, the visitation is great. You see your loved ones, but you also have to see them leave, and you have to go back into this misery, this dungeon, this, jungle. So how is that a good day, in my opinion? You know what I'm saying? So I never had one. I'm right there with you. Shout out to Major Mind and Soul Rights. Peace and Saints. Thank you both. This is real game, and it's only about to get deeper.
On Cash App, Jalen said, shout out the OG. We can see wisdom in his demeanor.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's I'm telling you. Shout out to Robbie Rice. Peace of Saints Tuition. Shout out to you, Quet, for the consistent game and content, which is turning males into men. Question for Banky. What did he learn most about male nature while being in the pen?
Well, that came from a book that I read, and after I read the book, I applied it and I analyzed it, and I found it to be true. One of the best books I read for real that I got a lot of information out of, and it was Aristotle, and the book was called The Desire to Understand. And in that book, Aristotle's definition of a man is a political animal. One who wants to conquer all, know all, to do all. He wants to be the apex of the apex. So I learned that fits a lot of men's nature out here, and it's not so much as a man want for him to know that this is a bottle. He want to know why. Man seeks to know the why and everything. It's the why that they need to know, that they thirst for, that they hunger for. So I look at men like that, you know what I'm saying? And it's okay to be ambitious. It definitely is, but you have to learn how to separate greed from need.
Wow. Oh, say that again.
You have to learn to separate greed from need, because most of the time it's the thirst for greed that gets us into compromising positions. And sometimes we got to know the difference between greed and need, man.
That's funny you say that, and we're so well aligned. I always tell people, if you want to control someone, you can control them through lust, greed, and fear.
Absolutely.
Lust, greed, and fear, sex, money, and death. As you said earlier, nobody want to die. Shout out to Solon. Peace of the Saints. Appreciate your time, gentlemen. What has your experience been like revolving around in prison as well as when you got out?
What has my experience been like revolving around prison as well as when I got? Well, a lot of people came out of prison, and I used to hear it all the time, man. I used to see it a lot when I was locked up. A lot of people, 33 years, you see a lot of cats come back. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you see a lot of cats come back, man. And I would be a liar if I sit up here and told y'all it did not irk me every time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm like, you keep coming back up in here. I'm trying to get out, and then, if I see you come back one time and I was, all right with you, had a, cordial or, friendship with you or whatever, I'm, what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to understand you. But if I see you come back a second time, I ain't got nothing for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm looking at you like, in the same stories all the time when they come back. Oh man, it's hard out there. It's harder than you think, Frank. Nah, it's hard right here. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about? So when I got out, I had seen all of this. So I process things. I take in information and I process things. I suck it up like a sponge. So I could see something and I could see the error in something. And then I know not to do this. So I never wanted to be someone that I, looked at as doing something wrong and then I be that person. You know what I'm saying? So I knew when I came out here, no matter what I had to do, if I had to, work every day or do this, do that. I know how to cut hair. I was a barber in there for 30 some years. And that was my plan, but when I got out here, God had other plans, but I didn't have a hard time adjusting out here. Probably the hardest thing for me out here was the people, dealing with the people, the close proximity, the people's attitude, their aggression, because I'm used to dealing with aggression in one way. I dealt with aggression in one way for 3 decades. So I'm used to dealing with aggression that way. But out here, I have to suppress that, because it don't behoove me to respond the way I'm usually respond. But had I not learned how to think, man, I'd already been back in prison the way some of these cats done act out here.
Yeah. Tell me about it. It's a lot of ignorance. It's a lot of ignorance.
Trust me, I know, man.
Shout out to the R. Hodge Experience writes, 2 of my favorite content creators. You both are supreme storytellers. I aspire to create at a high level like the both of you. Peace of the Saints in a real way. Shout out to Team Banky. Solon writes, when it came to making friends, I guess he's talking about making friends in the pen. Yeah, that's an interesting one, because I feel like you're gonna go in there pretty standoffish, right? You don't know who trying to extort you, who trying to get them some butt, who think you got a family that could put some money on their books. So what was that like?
Man, ironically, and it's crazy because I never even really thought about that till someone asked me that question, on my
Okay.
YouTube. And it made me think about it. So, this is why I love questions, because I'm better when someone jars something in my memory. But
Right.
actually, the few dudes I only had handful of dudes that I was like super tight with, like brothers with, you know what I'm saying? I go to war with without question, all of that type of stuff. And ironically, almost every one of them, probably besides one, we started out beefing. You know what I'm saying? We
Okay.
started out,
Okay.
yeah, we
Yeah.
started out beefing because the alpha male thing bumped. I ain't budging
Yeah.
and I ain't moving and I ain't bending. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I'm gonna stand on whatever I'm standing on. And if I had to fall right there, I'm gonna fall right there. But chances are you're gonna fall with me.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but all of my closest dudes, man, we started out beefing because like I said, I didn't go in there looking to make no friends. I ain't going there
Uh,
trusting nobody. I ain't going there trying to, humble myself or nothing. I just,
uh,
I went in there just being me, and I was just gonna be emphatic in everything I did. And I bumped heads with a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? And I'm quite sure they saying a lot of things right now, but
yeah.
I know they was
Huh.
glad to see me leave, you know what I'm saying? And
He was a problem. Get him out of
yeah,
here.
yeah,
He's a
yeah.
menace.
Yeah, they was glad to see me leave, and a lot of them, act like they like me, and I had some
Huh.
genuine love in there for me. But I know for the most part, I definitely probably had more hate than love in there. But it was all good with
Mm,
me. I prefer it that way because if I know where you stand, I know where I stand.
that's right.
So I prefer it that way than fakeness.
Hey, I
And I
hear
think
you.
you make friends in prison through conflict. If that
Mm,
answers your question, I think
yeah.
it has to come through conflict, because then you know who you're dealing with and what you're dealing with.
That makes sense. And you also know that they real, right? You know they real and you
For
know that they
sure, for
serious
sure,
men. So that makes
for
perfect sense.
sure.
Shout out to Saint RA writes, peace to the saints, respect to you two gentlemen. Banky, what books have been most positively influential to you? So you already named one of them. You got one more for him?
Oh man, I would say hmm. So that's a hard one, man, because I read a lot of books and a lot of them really helped me, man. I would just say two. I would say two that really shaped a lot of my philosophy at a younger age. A Lesson Before Dying by Ernest Gaines.
Okay.
I think that was a very powerful book, man. More or less it was about a brother that was locked up for something he didn't do, and
Mm,
he ended up being on death row, and he was gonna die. And he just felt so much self pity for himself that he couldn't even, stand up enough, man. And his grandmother, ended up putting some courage in him, let him know, even if you got to die, you die on your feet like a man. So I think there's a lot of life lessons in that. And George Jackson, man. I don't know if a lot of people
talk
hip
to
to
him.
George
Go
Jackson,
ahead.
man. Yeah, Big George, man, was very, very
That's a jail book
influential.
if I ever heard one. Just by Banky, that's
Yeah,
a jail book if I ever heard of one. Go ahead.
George Jackson, man. George Jackson is a lot of people don't know about George Jackson, man. But George Jackson was a revolutionary, man. George Jackson, for the masses who don't know, read up on George Jackson. George Jackson was a major figure in the Black Panther Party from prison. George Jackson went to prison at like 17 years old for a petty crime, and they tricked him, as I got tricked. And
Yeah.
he was uneducated, didn't even, make it to high school, man. And he became a genius on his own. He did everything that you have heard about Malcolm X and all. He did all of that first. He read the whole dictionary. He became a scholar. A lot of rules that's implemented in prison now was implemented because of him. They read your mail in prison now because of George Jackson, because they wanted to censor his mail to know what he was sending out there to the Black Panthers, to know the knowledge that he was sending out there to his people. So they got laws changed to read your mail. This is why they read your mail in prison now, because of the
They doing a
smarts
lot
and the
more than that,
ingenious
right?
of George Jackson, you know. And he was a top soldier, man. So those two books, George Jackson Letters and Soledad Brother by
Mm,
George Jackson.
there you go. And those are classics too. A lot of cats who've done significant time that's been on their reading list. And
For sure.
I think a lot of times, you had mentioned censorship and reading his mail. One thing we see on the outside right now is we got censorship in the internet space, in the online space. Google and YouTube is censoring. Twitter was busted for censoring. So we know information is powerful, and so much so that, what's one of the things you're gonna get the biggest issue for with the authorities when you're locked up that'll get you some information. Talk to the people.
Said, hit me with that again.
I'm gonna hit you with it. So I remember when I was 18, I got a phone call from my partner.
Right.
I from a number I didn't know. I answered the phone, and he was like, "What up, Blood?" I was like, "Who this? Blood, this Rob." I'm, bro, ain't you in? Like, how you call me? It ain't collect. How you call me? It ain't a collect call.
Oh yeah,
So they
yeah,
had,
yeah.
they got their little cell phone about yay big, size of a little credit card. It ain't even got the screen, just got the buttons on it. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Man, I had been in prison so long, man. I knew only thing I knew about a cell phone was seeing one on TV in a movie or something like that.
Wow.
So I got transferred a lot, as I told y'all. So one time I got transferred back to this prison that I had been on prior twice. Okay. So when I get transferred back to this prison, I had an opportunity, just in conversation. It just came up so, randomly, like, man, we trying to do this, we trying to do that. And they on the phone talking this, and I had been on there prior, and I had got a charge for being on there for conspiracy on the phone just from words, because they would twist your words like what you just to what you wanted to be.
This after you already got your case, and you done been down for a little while, and they listening that closely and try to hit you with conspiracy.
Yeah, they'll hit you with all of
that. You got 2 life sentences, and they trying to give you a third one.
They try
them
to give
people evil, man.
They evil. Yeah. So I'm telling these young cats now that I'm around when I'm back on here, I'm like, man, when they get off the phone, because I'm in proximity to them and I know them, I'm right there with them. I'm like, look, y'all can't be talking like that on the phone, man. People cross y'all up, blue. Just like the light bulb go off, they said, yeah, I know, man. We gotta get a cell phone. I was like, cell phone? How you gonna get a cell phone in prison? You know what I'm saying? Right. So they was like, man, they get cell phones in prison, man. They got phones this little. And I'm like, you can get a cell phone in prison? They was like, yeah. Now, mind you, I had been on this prison before. So, I had a little people on there that did work with me, you know what I'm saying? I was somebody when I was on here. So I was like, hey, man, if you can get a cell phone in prison, I can get one, because I know some COs that they was like, man, you can't get no cell phone. I said, if it can come in here, I can get it. If it's a cell phone. Long story short, I end up getting one. And I had never seen one before. So when I get it and I get to my cell, I'm like, man, what? And the adapter cord, dude, I'm plugging the adapter cord in and putting in, because I think that's the only way it worked. When I left the street, the phone had a cord.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it on, couldn't get it, couldn't get it on. Ended up taking it to the dude I told. He showed me how to cut it on. Woo. What? It just blew my mind, man. And man, that's one of the that was one of my big issues in there, man. Because once I had that, it was like the whole world opened up, man. I'm talking to people I ain't talked to. I'm seeing people I ain't seen. I'm seeing the streets I ain't seen. It's like it's the closest thing to parole. You know what I'm saying?
This man on MySpace lit, huh?
Oh, I was on MySpace, like, man. Hey, look, real talk. When I got the phone, MySpace was out. It wasn't none of this other stuff.
Right.
Man, I OD'd on MySpace. I stayed on MySpace from 12 at night till 5 in the morning.
You catch you a little broad on MySpace?
Man, I done caught a few of them on there, man. I done caught a few of them on there, Yeah, man. So it was crazy, man. But then, like I said a little while ago, greed and need. At this point, I could not separate the two. You know what I'm saying? And I had a good run with the phone because I was smart. One of my mottos is loose lips sink ships. I didn't tell nobody. Everybody I knew that had a phone, they got caught because they told somebody. I didn't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? I have been in sales with dudes for over a year and played past. They never knew I had the phone because I couldn't even trust them. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I had longevity with the phone. And coincidentally, I ended up getting tore off with the phone because my cellies girl on the street told on me, because she got tore off with something that had nothing to do with me, but she sacrificed me. And that was after like almost a 6-year run. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, that's a decent run.
In the greed though, because then when I leave, I get tore off. When you get tore off with a phone, you are, a security risk to the highest level. They ship you straight to the next level. So when I get shipped and everything go to another level, I had been on this prison and came down for doing right. Now I'm going back up. So now I'm back here, and now I know by the phone, greed. I get another one. I want one now because I'm addicted. Yeah. And I just got out of trouble for it, and I still want it. You know, got it. Didn't have as much success as I did with that. I got tore off 8 months later. One level, next level. Now I'm all the way up here in the mountains with the rednecks. They trying to kill me. So, you know,
all super maxed you off a cell phone.
Yeah, man, off a cell phone, man, where all because I could not separate the greed from the need. It was not a necessity, it was a want. Yeah. You understand me? And I should have been able to cut that off. And I wasn't until the consequences was too high. Yeah. You know, and then when I was up there, I had the opportunity to get one up there. And I said, not a chance.
Figured it out.
Nah, keep it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to use it. I ain't want no more parts of it. But yeah, it's a bigger risk in prison, and it's a bigger security risk in prison, more so than why people think so. That is the #1 security breach in prison, and people will not realize why. And the why is because they don't want you to send photos, videos of what really goes on in there to the free world.
Absolutely.
That is why. It is they worry about a cell phone more than they worry about a dude going across the fence.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because that cell phone will expose the truth.
That's
and people don't want the truth exposed. So if you get caught with a cell phone on a 3,000 man compound, they're gonna shut the whole compound down because they found one phone. And then they're gonna sweep the entire compound to make sure no more is on it. That's how much they go crazy with a cell phone. So, but that is the reason.
Talk to him. Shout out to Daniel. Baller alert. He writes, "This is deep. Peace to the saints." You ain't got no clue how deep it really is.
Salute, Daniel. Salute.
Yeah. And shout out to we got here Joshua. Baller alert writes, "Peace to the saints tuition."
Shout out Josh.
And you know what? You guys don't realize how deep it is. And I know it's already been mentioned, but I'm going to just, underline it for you. Banky was doing time before I was born. So when he says he didn't know what a cell phone was and he's having to learn about the modern world, you really are not fully comprehending how much about the modern world he's having to learn about because he's in a time capsule. I mean, before I was born, he doing time. You hear me? So that's #1 thing to understand is how much just technology he had to catch up on. Then the second piece, when you talk about being addicted to the cell phone, we got folks who ain't never done no time. They addicted to cell phones. But here's the thing. When you doing time, what time is lights out? About 5? Something like that? What time is lights out when you got to go in?
When we go in for the regular nights on most institutions, we got to go in. We got to be locked in by, I think is about 8:45.
Okay.
We on weekends sometime, depending on if it's a holiday, we might come back out, you know what I'm saying, stay out till about 11, you know what I'm saying, after the count. But for most nights, man, we locking up, 4 times a day they count, and you got to be in that cell when they count. That is not going to change nowhere on nobody's institution. That is a mandatory thing right there. That is the one thing that is super mandatory in prison is that count. You mess that count up, it ain't nothing moving, But I want to say something when you said that, man, acknowledge that when you said that, I was locked up for your entire life, right?
Yeah.
And when I talk, I've spoke at some HBCUs and some high schools and stuff. And that's where I try to, really try to say something that's profound to make them understand how much time I really did and how much I really lost. And look at you, look at your life, man.
Yeah.
And I put it in this perspective. Everything you did, seen, places you went, your experiences, your accomplishments, your failures, all of the things you've done in your entire life, my dude, I was in an 8x10 cell for that entire time.
It's unreal. It's unreal.
It's unreal. And I told them college dudes that, and I was telling them that, and when I said that, they just looked at me and they was like, because I'm talking to some 18, 20, 21-year-old dudes, and I'm telling them, man, your entire life. So, and I put it in the perspective of a 5-year-old child, a 2-year-old child will do more things, go more places, and see more things in one day than you will in decades in prison, my dude. That's how much of life you're throwing away, and you don't even know how much life you have left.
Yeah.
So if you don't know what you have left, what do you have to give away? People spend people spend their money more cautiously than they spend their time. You understand? When time, can get more money, but money can't buy you time.
Talk to him.
Yeah, on that level right there, me, you, and Jeff Bezos, we all in the same boat. Because if my time up, I can't buy no more. He can't neither with all the money he got. You
That's right.
understand? So, you don't have time to give away, man. So when you put yourself in the positions to be in prison, to just be sitting idly and watching the world go by, man, it's probably the biggest mistake you can make, man, while you're breathing.
Period. None of the above one-on-one writes tuition. Shout out to Mr. Banky Pound for making the best out of his situation and the wisdom. Nice drip, Mr. Burton. I appreciate you. I don't think we linked this in the description. This is at mdblabel.com. Hoodie is linked in the description. We also have all of Banky's links. He has 3 YouTube channels, an IG, and you can get his merch. And you gonna hear a little bit of the lingo come out his mouth. He gonna drop some ism on you, and a lot of his merch has all those things. He writes, need to increase my beanie game. Bruh, don't we all? In a real way. mdblabel.com. Log in, boss up, drip down.
The link is in the chat.
Oh, the link is in the chat. Appreciate you. Now, Banky, I got so many questions for you. Number one, I remember when I got some partners out in Baltimore. Oh, shout out to Saint DJ. He writes, Peace of the Saints tuition. Appreciate the lecture and insights, gentlemen. It's truly a pleasure. I got some partners out in Baltimore. And you from DC, Virginia area. So that's right in the, what they call it, the DMV.
DMV, salute, stand up.
In a real way. And Cats was wilding out, getting chicks pregnant that work at the prison and some more stuff. You did some significant time. At any point, did you ever witness or hear of anybody getting satisfied from a female? I'm just trying to figure out what's possible.
I witnessed myself.
Oh, bro, you got the plug. Talk to your boy.
Yeah, man.
Talk to your boy.
I had a few good moments, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
A few good moments, but when you locked up for 33 years, man, they come so few and far in between. It's like you never had anything, you know what I'm saying? But most definitely, it wasn't enough, but I'm appreciative, you know what I'm saying? And but I've known dudes, man, who had far more success than me. I was more concentrated on surviving, in a crazy world. But I know cats that's their everyday wake up motivation goal in life is to cop a CO. You know what I'm saying?
You've been around and it's been done.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. I know dudes that had 6-7 year relationships with I know dudes that got babies by COs. I know dudes got babies by COs, and the CO female husband is a CO as well, and he thinking that they his kids. Yeah. So yeah, man, it goes down, man. I'm telling you,
it's a cold world out here, boy. It's a cold
world, my dude. You know what I'm saying? And it's just human nature. I mean, they trained and they taught to, treat us like subhumans, to overlook us, and they tell them all this stuff when you coming in. Don't listen to nothing they say. They all liars. They all gay. They all drug addicts. They all gonna try to, so they preach all this stuff to them when they come through the gate.
Yeah.
To no avail, because human nature takes over. You know what I'm saying? Human nature takes over. You're not going to put any female that's heterosexual in a dominated male prison amongst thousands of men, and she's going to say none of them are attracted to her. I'm attracted to none of them. None of them. Yeah. That's impossible, man. It's impossible. She going to see somebody she like probably within the first hour. Yeah, within the first hour. You know what I'm saying? So, but they'll tell you though, I don't even look at y'all like that.
Yeah,
okay.
They lying. They lying.
Yeah. So yeah, man. But I've seen that a lot of times. Goes on in every prison in the world, I'm assuming.
So a player could play no matter what. Shout out to the ballers. Neil Hall writes, Peace of the Saints, tuition for the real ones in the real game. I'm telling you, he got more
Neil
to
Hall,
give.
Salute.
Yeah.
Big love, big love.
Now tell me this, Banky, because I remember we were talking about that transition from jail to prison. And when did you like, how long did it take to where you felt like you had your sea legs to where you say, you know what, man, I got a good rhythm on what time it is and I can navigate this place. I'm not enjoying it, but I feel as much comfort as I'm probably gonna get.
Great question, man. Great question. Hmm. I think okay, I went to receive, and then I went to the wall, then I went to Augusta, I went to Mecklenburg. So I'm talking 87, 89, 91. I'm thinking around about 5 years.
Damn,
Because
it took 5 years to get fitted in.
by the fifth year, I had already been to the two most dangerous prisons in Virginia. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of due to my actions, you know what I'm saying? So, but nevertheless, I was there, so I had to deal with it. And I think I learned a lot by being around these type of cats, because in these prisons was a lot of old timers. You had dudes in there did 30, 40, 25. It was nothing to have dudes
Yeah,
like that walking around.
yeah,
I'm around dudes that got bodies on the street
yeah.
and in
Yeah.
the penitentiary and
Huh,
inside the penitentiary. They done killed outside, they done came in here and killed, and they walking around. So I'm
huh.
around these type of people. And when you're around these type of people, um, man, respect is at an apex,
Huh.
because you know, death is on the table every day. So when you're
Okay.
around that type of people and you're around them as young as I was,
Mm.
and you learn a lot about prison, you learn a lot about how to move, what to do, what not to do, what to say, what not to say. You know what I'm saying? It's about time, and it's about, understanding, what's around you, what's at stake. And I
Yeah.
think I learned a lot of that, within those years right there. So by the time I actually left Mecklenburg, um, I figured in my mind I would probably say I had a game plan for whatever came up. You know what
How
I'm
to move.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I knew how to. I ain't got to be asking nobody nothing or
Yeah.
what they do. Nah, I'm focused. You know what I'm saying?
So it's
Yeah.
like you went to Yale early, and then everything after that, you're like, "Oh, this is junior college
Yeah,
right
yeah,
here. I
yeah. I
already know
left
how to
Yale
move."
and started going to, like UCLA and
Uh,
you know what I'm saying, Notre Dame and Virginia Tech and all.
and what I'm wondering too, because just in general, we, me being from California, we view the folks in the South, Virginia, what have you, you know, as we just like off rip, they more racist than the white folks in California, just off rip. So I'm
Right.
imagining the woods and the lockup over there probably like a little bit more thorough, maybe better organized, and also more plugged in with the administration. Would that be
Oh,
about how it's looking?
yeah, well, when you on down here in Virginia, you're looking at like flatland. We call
Mhm.
what we call flatland. If you
Okay.
on flatland, meaning like the regular prisons down here, you're more or less it's gonna be dominated by you know black people. You know what I'm saying?
Oh
They're
yeah,
gonna be
yeah.
most officers. But it's crazy though, because the dynamics is crazy, because most all the officers are gonna be black. The lieutenant sizes, woo woo woo. But the administration gonna be white. The
Right.
warden gonna be white 9 times out of
Mhm.
10. The major probably gonna be white. But when
Mhm.
you go up to them higher levels,
Mhm.
all Caucasians. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And they all racist. And I'm not saying they racist because they Caucasian. I'm telling you they racist because I was there and I know that
Yeah.
they are racist. I'm talking
Yeah.
about they will
'Cause I had
literally call
experience.
you. Yeah, they will literally call you the N-word to your face, and they got a
Uh,
uniform on.
uh,
I've had officers pull out their wallet and show you and pull a card out and say that they a proud card carrying member of the KKK.
KKK. Let's
So
go.
N-word, get to your cell now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and you can buck, but you can be shot. You probably be killed. And, all of that type of stuff. So so yeah, it's levels to that stuff, man. But they yeah, it's racist down here for sure. But like I say, you got a lot of racism that goes on flatland too, with the black dudes that think they white. You know what I'm saying? Because they got a uniform on. So
Right.
yeah, they have lost in touch with who they are. So they're gonna treat you like who they think you are and don't even know who they are. So
Mm.
it's just crazy. So yeah, man, the prison is just it's just a messed up situation, man. And I do not recommend it for no one.
Shout out to Castro. He writes, I appreciate the wisdom. Thank you, Marquett, for making this collab happen. Oh, it's truly a pleasure.
Joshua got 3 of the beanies. I think it's hard to see on camera that there's the MDB logo.
Oh, yeah.
It's on the other side.
Yeah, we bled out. Yeah, it's right there.
Joshua got some of the dark. He got a navy one, a dark gray, and a brown. So it does come in, I think, like 7 or 8 colors to choose from.
Yeah, we're looking out for the people. Now, tell me this, Banky, because you had mentioned earlier, you down for 3 decades. That's going to condition a certain mentality. And in my book, The Black Box, I actually talk about coming out of similar mentalities. Obviously, not a 30-year condition mentality, not coming out the pen, but just going from a ghetto into civilized society. And one of the things that struck me first was how white guys will talk to each other and talk to you, like middle class and upper white guys that I was meeting in college. And how in the neighborhood, like, there's just certain things you're not going to call somebody because you already know what that's going to turn into. And there's certain things you don't do. Like, white guys, they slap your butt and think it's funny. And we didn't think that, we didn't think that was funny. So now that you're out, you've been conditioned for 30 years in a war zone. Now you out and you want to stay out, but you still don't want to let people play with you. So how have you been thinking about that since you've been free?
Oh man, it's been difficult. It's been difficult, to be honest with you, because like I say, it's just because, and I tell people that I'm a thinking individual first and foremost, but it's hard to train 12,340 some consecutive days out of you in just less than 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Somebody come running at me. I tell people like this: if you come running at me or you acting like you're gonna do something to me, you're gonna have a bad day. You know what I'm saying? Before I could, because like I say, I always say, think about what you do not do what you think. But if you rush me, that's different. But in a situation where you just popping off at the mouth, where if I was in prison, I'm gonna shut your mouth. Out here, I'm gonna let you run your mouth, as long as you don't run up on me. You know what I'm saying?
Right, because then you trained. That's your training, right? Don't run up on me. I can't even control this right now.
Right, I can't. You know what I'm saying? I just don't got no recall on it. Once it go out, it's gone. I can't stop that.
They ain't recalling them hands.
Yeah, no, man. So if you stay your distance and run your mouth, like I say, I'm definitely gonna feel the effects of it. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be honest with you. It happened to me since I've been out. I can't even sleep for weeks. You know what I'm saying? Weeks, I literally can't sleep because my mindset is that of prison, that you don't let nothing go. Zero. What you let go in prison will come back and be the end of you. So when I do have to overlook the ignorance and the faking of these dudes out here, man, it takes me out of weeks of sleep, man. I be laying in the bed saying, man, is it any way possible that I could have broke his face and got away with it? And I have to suppress that. You know what I'm saying? And I ran into a couple of fools out here, man. I had a dude jump out of the car one time because he cut me off, and I blew the horn so he wouldn't run into me. Wow. And he was a straight coward because he looked right at me, and I'm right behind you. We at the light, but he takes off and go all the way around, then turn around and come back and stop at another light and jump out of his car and tell me, get out of the car, come on out. And I'm looking at this kid and I'm saying to myself, you must got a gun. You know what I'm saying? You got to have a gun. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna need a gun, my dude. And man. So in my mind, my mind saying, this a fool, leave him alone. You know what I'm saying? Right. But my ego saying, I would get out and crush you, my dude. But I couldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's a piece of old head gave me one time, man, and it stuck with me. And I pulled back on things like that because I was getting ready to hurt a dude in prison one time, man. I felt like he earned it, and I was gonna make sure
he put his work in to get it.
Yeah, he earned it. I was gonna make sure he get his paycheck. So and the old head that I was super cool with, man, he seen
payday, Banky.
Yeah, he paid it. I tell him all the time, if you campaign long enough, you're gonna get elected.
Yeah.
So he seen it, man, and he pulled me to the side and he was like, man, what you doing, man? I said, man, I'm good, leave me alone. And this is crazy too. This is one of them what they call them, Jones, not a coincidence. It's like serendipity, because this dude was my old head and he was one of my greatest mentors, if not the only one in prison. And his last name is Burton.
No kidding. Wow.
I lie to you not, man. His name is
Okay.
Van Burton, man. Shout out to Van Burton.
Shout out to Van.
And even more ironically, he did 33 years, the same much time as I did, but he did it for a crime that he did not commit.
Mm.
You know, but anyway, shout out to Van, but he pulled me to the side and he told me that, and I said, nah, man, I'm tired of him. He running his mouth too much. Why? He was like, man, leave it alone, man. You know he a fool. I said, yeah, okay, well, he gonna get what he deserved today. And he told me this, and I never forgot it. He said, one thing about a fool, he said, you let another fool take care of that fool, but you don't have to be a fool and do it yourself. He said, if you sit back and watch, a fool will take care of a fool, but you can take the place of a fool by going getting yourself in trouble. You know what I'm saying?
One more time for the people in the back.
A fool will take care of another fool. You would be the fool if you get played into that. You know, and I didn't understand it at the time. I'm trying to listen to him, but I'm mad, and he holding my attention, and he was a master, you know, because he been in prison. He talking to me, and he had my ear, you know, and I let the situation go. He went and said something to the other dude and told the dude basically, you know, beware, dog, man. You gotta leave him alone.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
And sure enough, it wasn't even like a month and a half later. Dude split his head open so wide, you know, and that dude split his head open. He got really hurt, had to be fighting for his life. And the dude who did it, getting ready to get some more time and getting ready to go through God knows what. And he came straight to me after that incident happened, and he said, you could have been that fool. And I never forgot that, you know what I'm saying? Because his words manifested themselves while I was still there to see it. So I took that lesson, like I take all lessons, because I say you can learn from anybody. You know what I'm saying? I never say, well, oh, I ain't gonna listen to him, he younger than me, or I ain't gonna listen to him, he older than me, or I ain't gonna listen to him because he a kid. Man, I'm gonna listen to all y'all. You understand me? Because I'm gonna take something from everybody. I have no problem with stealing knowledge. None whatsoever. That's the only thing I'm gonna steal out here in 2022 is knowledge.
Knowledge.
That's
Bar,
it.
shout out. Dan comes in with the double baller alert, writes peace to the saints. And he came in twice. Shout out to the prosperous man.
Oh, yeah. Big love, man. That's big love there.
Daniel, I agree with you. The bars are crazy today. Banky, bro. Sometimes things work out for the best. Let us say that, huh? Sometimes things work out for the best. Now, one thing you spoke to, and to me to talk to you is like, because it's a lot of brothers been locked up. That ain't nothing unique, but to talk to a gentleman like yourself who's articulate, who's coherent, intelligent, knows how to take a situation and learn vicariously so you don't have to make the mistake yourself, that's special. And that's why I wanted to talk to you. And I also see you as a representation of what could have happened to me. You know, I don't want to be the smart dude in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like that's torture. Because I know what kind of person, you know what I'm saying? That's torture. I know what kind of personalities are in. And
absolutely,
my nightmare would be that I'm locked in the box with a lot of goofballs. Man. They doing stupid stuff. They stirring up trouble. They trying to poke their chest out. And I'm going to end up in there forever because I got to knock his helmet off. I got to slap him in his head just to maintain peace and protect myself and establish my position.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that, because I feel like I go in for a couple of days and end up for a lifetime. Help the people understand, one, what you've seen in terms of people going with a light sentence, end up with a heavy sentence, committing crime while they're in jail. And then the second piece of how is crime weighed in the penal system? You know what I mean? Like, what's the difference between, you know, I didn't stab somebody out in the world and then I had to grab what you call the Bethlehem, you heard me, and bring Tell them about that.
Great. You got some great questions, my dude. I've seen all those scenarios, man. I known dudes, every scenario possibly you could think of in prison, I've seen it. witness it firsthand. I know dudes that came in. This is a dude that went in with me. He was one of the most feared dudes on the street. I didn't know him on the street, but he was one of the most feared dudes down here on the street. And he went in with me, man. And he was a little cat,
Yeah.
but he was
Like
big on the
small.
street. Yeah, I know, it's like skinny.
Okay.
Like probably about 6 feet, but he weighed probably like $145.
Okay.
But on the street, notorious. I'm talking about, you ever seen the movie The Wire?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was like Omar. They say
Bro,
he walked
okay.
in the street, everybody gone, because he
Roaches.
done robbed everybody. But he was in the jail with me, and he ended up he went in the same time I did.
Okay.
Within 5 years, somebody killed him.
Wow.
Right?
He ain't
Somebody
lasted half
killed
a decade.
Somebody killed him. And I ended up running 2 years later, decades later, both of his sons at different times. Right. So, history repeats itself. But anyway, though.
Oh, you ran into his sons while you was locked up?
I was locked up. I eventually ended up meeting one of his sons, and then I ended up meeting his junior, his surname, and then ended up meeting his oldest son. So both of them ended up getting locked up, not breaking the cycle of what had happened to their father.
Wow.
Which is another story, another message in itself. But I've seen dudes come in with 5 years and end up doing 38. I know one
came in with 5 and did 38.
He did 38. That story is on my YouTube, man. I know the dude. He actually came out when I came out, but he went in with 5 years. And what happens is, it doesn't matter if you come in there with 5, 10, 15, 22 life sentence, 3 life sentence, whatever. Prison is not a place that you're going to get away with the way you look, the way you talk, how many dudes you killed on the street.
Yeah.
If I'm talking about, you got like dudes, like the only one I could really like think of off the top of my mind, which may be a bad example, is like serial killers like Jeffrey Dahmer or something.
Yeah.
In prison, is no one gonna say, "Oh, you killed all these people, I'm scared of you." Man, they don't care nothing about that. You know what I'm saying? They care nothing about that. Yeah, you you know what I'm saying? But they don't care nothing about that. But you got serial killers. I did a story on the dude on my page. He was a serial killer on the street and supposed to have been like a mob hitman and all this and all of that. Yeah. And he killed 2 people in prison. He killed one dude while I was in the block with him. But I didn't even know he was in the block. That's how insignificant he was. And the dude that he killed was an old, frail, 60-something-year-old man, about 130 pounds. So
he get no credit. He get no credit for that.
No, at all. Because and the reason why I didn't know who he was, because regardless of what he had did on the street, the people he had killed, the reputation he had, he didn't come out of his cell because he knew that he couldn't survive in it. He was going to be extorted. He was going to be carried and all of that, because what you did on the street makes no difference to this is a different world, man. You're going to have to put the work in, and in putting that work in, you may get yourself a longer stay here. So get comfortable. You see what I'm saying? So it's a balance in that. Okay, do I want to be extorted? Do I want to be abused? Do I want to be beat? No. Do I want to stay in here longer? No. Okay, well, make a choice, because this is what's on the table. See what I'm saying? So in defending yourself, you could end up with more time. And big love and big shout out to Shorty Pimp, man. He's a penitentiary legend. That's a dude that came into prison with 5 years. He did over 43.
That's hood.
For putting in work and doing.
He was putting in work, a tremendous amount of work, apparently.
And he recently just passed away, man. Probably about a good month ago now, man. But a real top soldier. And when you talk about height, about 5'5".
Right.
Yeah,
right.
5'5".
Yeah.
You understand me? Yeah. And you be hard pressed to find anybody to run up on him and have some success. You understand? Because he was vicious with it, and he took no shorts. No pun intended. So. It doesn't matter your size, man, but I'm saying prison is such a complex animal, man. And it's like, you shook if you do, you shook if you don't. You know what I'm saying? It's just like that, because it's so many things you're going to have to do to survive. But all of these things encompass you probably have to stay here longer. Right. You understand me? So you know, I say, man, the only way I told the dudes when I talked to them at the college, man, and they asked me, well, what's the best way to survive prison or
Don't go.
jail? You know,
Don't go.
I said, there's
Go.
only one way. There's only
Uh,
one way known to man. And I told him, I looked him, so I said, look, I'm gonna tell y'all this. Y'all probably never heard this before. I said, y'all need to get your pens out. You need to write this. I'm
I
probably the
got
only
it. Let's
person.
go.
Yeah, I'm probably the only person in the world that's gonna be able to give you this information. The only 100%, I'm gonna give you a 100% way of surviving jail and prison. I said, you ready? They said, okay. I said, listen real close. Only way known to man, don't go.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's the only way. Because any other thing other than that is no guarantee you coming out.
Right.
If you go into jail, you go into prison, there is no guarantee you coming out. And not your sentence, not I got 10 years, I ain't got but 5 years. That's one of the most asinine things I ever heard people say in the prison. I ain't got but 4 years. Who told you
Right.
you're gonna live 4 years?
That's good.
Who told you that? You know what I'm saying? I ain't got but 4 years. He got 2 life. Who told you you're gonna live 4 years?
Mhm.
So it's no guarantee that you coming out when you go in. The only guarantee is don't go.
Mm.
2 simple words, just don't go.
Banky got these folks on scared straight. Whole audience on scared straight right now.
Yeah, I wish I was.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Chris. He writes, so much game had to show love, peace to the Saints. Yeah, in a real way. Shout out to Saint DS. He writes, had to re-up for this game. If this resonates with you, then send in your support. Banky is definitely saving someone's life somewhere. I agree with that. And, you know, the only sadness for me is that when you describe 33 years down, what I know people don't understand that. It's kind of like when someone says, I want to be a millionaire. Okay, well, you're making $40,000 a year right now. You're talking about being a millionaire. You don't even comprehend what that's about. Because if I doubled your income, you wouldn't even really comprehend how your lifestyle would change with doubling your income from 40,000 a year to 80,000. So $1 million is so far away. You don't even know what that means. Because when you even said you were in the pen my whole lifetime, right?
Right.
And you're like, Marquett, all your experiences. But here's the thing. You were in the pen as an adult. I don't remember what I was doing when I was 4 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old.
Right.
You were in there as an adult. Those were your prime working years, your prime years for romance. We will never, there's only one way to comprehend that, to do 33 years.
Absolutely.
That's the only way you can understand that.
Absolutely.
And I hope people are taking you really seriously when you say there was not one day of happiness. And when you go in there, get comfortable, because 2 years could turn into 2 decades, or 2 years could turn into 2 days, and you could get hit with an ox and go all the way out.
All the way.
And I hope they understand. Man, follow Banky. His links are in the YouTube. If you ain't subscribed to Banky, you're tripping right now.
For sure.
If you ain't subscribed, you're tripping right now.
For sure. I tell them all the time, somebody need this information. If not you, somebody you know.
That's right. That's right. And you actually had you have kids. You have kids. Tell us about that. Like, how'd you sneak that in? Because you caught the case at 19 or 20.
Yeah, I had my first child. Shout out to my daughter, my beautiful queen, Quinta. I had my first child at 16.
Okay, Banky didn't start it early. Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, man. I had a daughter at 16. I had a son at 19. Yeah, right when I was getting ready to go in. So shout out to Hollywood Trail, my son. That's actually my editor, my partner in crime in this YouTube. I couldn't do it without him. He edits, he thumbnails, he does everything, man. He's a whiz with the camera. He went to school for engineering. So shout out to him. He's out there in LA. You need a video shot or something, holler at Hollywood Trail.
There you go.
Yeah, so I had them before I went in, man, and I feel abundantly blessed, man, abundantly blessed to come home and be received by both of my kids, man, with love. You know what I'm saying? Because I acknowledged that didn't have to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Correct, and it often doesn't.
I acknowledged that it did not have to happen, man. So in a lot of ways, I've been blessed, man, since I came out here on the street. I would like to thank, is part of my compensation for what I done been through, man. So I believe if you know what I'm saying, if you live with a certain type of principles, man, that karma gonna bless you. You know what I'm saying? Karma gonna bless you, and karma might save you, because it won't all meet it walk through them 33 years in there. You know what I'm saying? I had somebody on my side, because I definitely done looked at death more than a little bit.
Yeah.
So, you know, I feel blessed, man, that I got a good relationship with my daughter and my grandkids. I got a good relationship with my son, good relationship with my family, my mother. You know, God bless, she healthy and alive. So I'm blessed, man. You know, one of the first things I said when I started this YouTube thing, man, is on my intro, man, is, I ain't got nothing, but I'm gonna have some because I'm
Right.
rich in personality.
Rich in
You understand
personality.
me? So, and I'm patient, you know
And
what
we
I'm
see
saying?
that.
For sure.
Now tell me this, and that's one thing I've been able to feel from your videos is that you have people around you, you got good family. And I remember not understanding when I was maybe say 12, 13, I see my mom packing up big boxes, throwing Oreos in there, Pop Tarts. And I'm looking like, dang, shorty, like we could use that right here. And she's sending it off to my uncles who locked down. And I'll be tripping like, shorty, like we ain't even living good like that. We
Right.
out here on food stamps and you sending this to this fool, keep going back and forth to the pen. But I didn't realize how much one that means to somebody who's down and what the true meaning of that is. Now, in terms
Yeah.
of family, what time or what age did you get off the porch? Like, so what age did you start getting involved in this life that eventually led you to the lockup?
Man, I probably started getting in trouble with this foolishness. Well, not just with this foolishness, just being, reckless and hard head, man. I would probably say around 15, 16, man, and I had a man, my father, died when I was probably like 12, and I never really knew him anyway, right?
Mhm.
But my mom was a mother and a father and a disciplinarian. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Get I didn't get leather beat up off of me.
Because
You
you
understand
started
me?
late. You
Yeah,
started
yeah,
late. I feel like 15, 16, you a little
yeah,
bit
yeah, because I was already getting ass out.
late.
I was getting it. Anything I did wrong, I took it. But when I say 15, I mean like cause it's like when I was really like, cause I was in the sports, man. I was into the boxing, I was in the football, and I was really into it, man. And I had some good coaches that, they stay in your ear, which is really a good thing, you know what I'm
Yes, sir.
saying? But yeah, that helped me to curve a lot of stuff. But then when you start getting to thinking you know everything, and man, I ain't gonna keep listening to them, and you get out there, man. And I started gambling, man. And
Oh yeah,
yeah, man,
dice.
I had a dice, man.
Okay.
And I'm good at it. I'm an animal. You know what I'm
Hey, well,
saying?
I was going to invite you to Saint City, bro, but you might have to stay on that side, bro. I
Hey,
ain't gonna
no,
bring you
man.
back
I'm
around the
telling you,
business.
man. I'm nice, man. I'm telling you, man. I got a reputation in prison, man. They used to tell me, they used to tell cats to come in the block, man. They hated on me so much, man. They said, man, don't gamble with that dude up there, man. And such, man. He lucky as hell, man. Don't
Oh,
gamble, because they were so mad. I done whooped all them, man. It ain't no trickery or nothing. It's just I always had luck in certain things in my life, man. And
uh-huh.
dice is one of them. And so I got doing that,
Keep
and
Banky away from Las Vegas. Keep him out of there.
yeah, man. But I ain't gambled since I've been out here. I said, man, I ain't got time for all that foolishness. I'm focused. I'm trying to do some
Yeah.
things, but I but I'm gambling, man, and I'm beating dudes, out their money, man, and then I'm going to school the next day with their kids. You know what I'm saying? I
Wow.
done beat your daddy out his rent money, man. You know
That's
what I'm
hood.
saying? So that
Okay.
type of stuff, man. So that kind of like
This
give
man.
you the lust now for money, and it give you lust for this, the exhilaration of gambling. So it's just a terrible combination, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, I just got into it, got hard head, man, and then I met this dude from New York, man, and once I met him, man, he introduced me to the stick-up game, and then I was like, boom, okay, so I ain't got to shoot dice all night to get no money. I ain't got to do that. I just take it. And
Right.
yeah, probably the worst decision I ever made in my life, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, but it started, man, at 15, man. Like I say, when they say gateway drug, that's like a gateway drug. You start doing wrong,
Yeah.
all wrong is wrong is wrong. You steal a piece of bubble gum, I steal a car, man. By definition, we thieves. You
Right.
understand me?
Right.
By definition,
One
man, we
one is a
thieves.
petty theft, though.
Yeah,
Nigga,
yeah,
one is a
it's a
petty
petty.
theft. You
You
go
can put
get
an
less
asterisk.
time, but
Yeah,
yeah.
you can put an asterisk on it, but we
Yeah, yeah.
thieves. Yeah, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Yeah. We both thieves, though. Yeah, I hear you on that one.
Sure, man. But
Speaking of
yeah, that's when
such,
it started, man, and got me off track.
speaking of such, now I know you used to get your Rob on, and I think maybe only been involved in such things like twice, if I can remember correctly. But what was your favorite dirt to do, and what was your least favorite dirt to do?
Well, when we got in the stick up game, man, I ain't like robbing like establishment. I just ain't never
Yeah.
felt comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? I never felt comfortable with that. And I felt like, even at that young age, you got some type of like moral compass, like, man, these
Right,
people,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah, yeah.
these people trying to make some money. We started out, to be honest with you, man. We started out, man, robbing, we was robbing pimps and prostitutes, people that we
Mm.
know had money. You know what I'm
He's
saying?
robbing
We
the
up there,
pimping.
they're pimping, man. And
Yeah.
the pimping was on us, was ready to take us up out of there, man. They was down on us, man. They had an APB out on us one time, man. So
All the pimp partners that got together and said,
man,
"Watch out for him."
yeah, man. I told that story on Blad, man. I remember when the pimps came in the store, man. I was selling clothes. I always been obsessed with clothes. I like dressing nice. So I worked at a clothing store when I was young, One of the first jobs I had, working at a clothing store, selling clothes. I was working there because I wanted to be able to afford the clothes. So you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So man, one of the pimps we robbed, man, he come up in that joint. he come up in that joint, Marquett, with a couple of his little hoes, and I noticed him off the top. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm like, oh man, and then I'm the one who got to wait on him. And that joker kept looking at me, telling me, man, where I know you from, young blood?
Hey,
He
Banky,
said,
what do you say? What do you say to
hey,
you?
hey, wait, where I know you from, young blood? You look familiar. I'm like, nah, you don't know me. And I'm saying to myself, man, this joker fitting had me set up and killed out here, man. But yeah, I was nervous, man. But I kept trying to avoid him. I was trying to get somebody else wait on him. I was trying to throw all types of distractions, man. But he ended up getting up out of there, man. But yeah, that's a dangerous. And see, then when you that young, man, too, you just so oblivious to the danger that you actually
Right.
putting yourself in, man. Because you young, you feel invincible. You thinking you ain't doing no harm, and man, these people get ready to kill us, man.
That's right.
Dead. I'm talking about funeral dead. You out of here. You ain't no
It's a
coming back.
funeral day.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just talking dead. I mean, you gonna have a funeral, man. These people trying to kill us. So, yeah, man, I was just living, you know, without thinking, man, without thinking of the consequences. And that's what I say a lot of times, man. I know you might have heard it 100 times, man, but I say it because it's true. Misinformed people just misinform people, you
Yeah.
know. And I was misinformed, man. So, if you following the wrong lead,
Right.
you ain't gonna never get to your destination, man.
Talk to him.
And I was following the wrong lead, man. Whenever you start to think that people in the same position you in, with the same amount of knowledge you have, with the same amount of experience that you have, know more than you, and you gonna follow them, man, you have already did yourself a disservice,
That's right.
And we listen to the people on the street, we listen to the people we hang out with, and then the people in our household, our mother, our father, our grandmother, our uncle saying, look, la 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 la. We take that as dictation. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what they talk about. We don't understand. And then you go right out here and listen to a fool. You understand me? And
Yeah.
then what happens when you get in trouble? You can't even call the fool. You calling the same people
Right.
that you didn't even listen to. That's your 911 call. That's what I tell these young cats. I say, who you should listen to gonna be your 911 call. If you're gonna listen to Pookie on the corner, then when you gonna call him, that's who you listen to. But if you gonna call mama, you listen to mama. You
That's right.
understand me? If you gonna call your brother, your grandma when you get in trouble, that's who you listen to. Because that's who care about you, man. Whether you want to hear it or not. A lot of times, almost everybody in the world need information, need advice. But the strange part about it is the people who need it the most want it the least. Unless
Absolutely.
it's
Absolutely.
yeah, unless it fits into their plan. If you're gonna give them some advice that what they already want to do, then yeah, it's acceptable. Yeah, you're right. But if it's something that's opposed to what they already thinking, they don't even want to hear it.
Absolutely not.
So it's just crazy, man. But I listen to some fools, you know what I'm saying? And I always fashioned myself a leader. But when I was young, looking back and reflecting, being honest, I wasn't. Because if I was, I would have made my own decisions, because I would have understood that no matter what, I'm gonna be the only one that's gonna pay for it in the end. You know
That's
what I'm
right.
saying? Ain't nobody, going in that grave with you but you. So you better make your own decisions in this lifetime, my bro. And you better know who to take advice from. And chances are it's gonna be somebody who you already know really care about you because they have already shown it, and they got your best interest at heart, man. Yeah, I think it's Francis Bacon say, man, that which cannot be proven should not be believed.
Oh, don't hurt their feelings out here, man. You about to hurt some people's feelings saying, "Nah, don't give them the truth like that."
Okay, you have Subadiah said peace to the saints, thankful for the wisdom.
Indeed.
And we have Jalen is back, I believe, for the third time. Said short-sightedness is common AF in the hood.
I think it's common among human beings in general, but the thing is, when you're impoverished and you're short-sighted, you have a lot more booby traps around. You dig? If you grew up, middle class, and you're short, because a young male is not all the way there. No, you're not all the way there till you're 25. Your brain hasn't fully matured. I want to show you something as we wind down, Banky, because I want the Saints, I want Team Banky, I want everyone watching to understand a couple things. Because this is a big world and there's so much we can accomplish. And I bring you together with myself and with this audience, knowing that you have a great purpose. And I think that we're well aligned. And I want people to understand, one, that there's always like a lot of intersections between real folks. You were in DC, Virginia. I was in Baltimore, and then we also have somebody in common that we both know. And I want these guys to understand that on my side, we organize in the SAS and the Saint, the Sinner Nation, a real organization to protect and to get your ends met. And people got to know, like I always say, it's not about who you know, it's about who knows you, right? Like you guys all know of Kanye, but does Kanye know you? It's not about who you know, who knows you, and that matters. Let me show you something. Play a little video for you for a second. I don't know if I can maximize this one, but I'm gonna play this one for you, and then you can tell the people who this is and why this guy matters. So
here are those who wish to be Virginians.
Can you hear that, Banky? I just want to make sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sitting with Marquett here. I know it's his birthday, but he moved his company from Puerto Rico. He moved it to Ohio.
Wow.
I mean, what are you thinking? I mean, you want to be successful? You like paying taxes? Come to Virginia. You come, we've got 306 wineries, 235 craft breweries. We have the finest oysters. You come, you eat our oysters, you drink our wine. Virginia is for lovers, Marquette. So come home.
I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but
wow, that's big right there, man. That's big right there, man.
Talk to us, Banky.
Yeah, man.
Who's that man? Why does he matter?
Man, he matters a lot. That's former Governor Terry McCullough, man. And man, in my 33 years of incarceration, man, I can clearly and emphatically say he was the best governor that I seen come through, man. Because he implemented a lot of things, man. In prison, did his have dudes out here and there walking out on the street that probably wouldn't have never been out or probably wouldn't have never had a chance.
That's right.
For over 30, almost 40 years, man, Virginia had the lowest percentage of parolees in the country.
2%.
And 2%, man. And this dude, it's asinine. It's crazy. And this dude took office, man, and he made promises, man, and he saw fit to change that, man. And when it wasn't going the way that he thought it should go, he fired the entire parole board and he gave them a whole new agenda, the new parole board, with the knowledge that if you didn't complete the job, you would be fired as well. Wow. He said a lot of these dudes been locked up for decades and decades. I need y'all to look closer into their cases and closer into their institutional records and what their accomplishments are. And if they have, been out of trouble and they've been doing what they're supposed to do, they deserve a second chance. So he created that second chance opportunity by applying pressure. And had he not applied that pressure, there's a lot of dudes that would not be free, man. And then that carried over because he had the lieutenant governor, which was Northam, who, when he went out, Northam kept his ball rolling of what he started. But Terry McCullough is the author of that. You understand? So shout out to him, man. He got a lot of dudes out here free. And I would even go so far as to say, had he never had he never been elected, man, you know, TBP, y'all wouldn't even know Banky Pen. I'd still be in there
It's
with the
crazy.
Bethlehem in hand.
He's
You
with the
understand me?
Bethlehem on these suckers.
Yeah, man. So yeah, shout out to Terry McCullough, man. That's a good dude, bro. I mean, you know, yeah, you moving in some big circles, my dude.
And you know, Banky, I wanted to just bring that full circle because I need people to understand that, as you said, if it wasn't for a man like that doing the right thing, you might not be here.
Absolutely.
And here's the crazy thing. You're a great man. You see, you're a great man, and you took the opportunity that was there and you didn't took it to the touchdown. That's what we want to see. But we also want to make sure that we have those connections, because often when you're looking at Black folks and you're looking at people who might grow up in poverty or whatever the circumstance is, there are a lot of things that could have happened for you that could have happened sooner if you'd have had those certain connections.
Absolutely.
I mean, right? Let's not play games about it, right?
For sure. For
You know what
sure.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's one thing we're trying to build up on this side, which is to let you know, like, hey, you know, we're building organization over here.
Right.
We're building organization over here. And I saw one of the nerds in the comments. There's some internet nerd had my name in his mouth, and dudes in the comments like making goofy statements. And I'm thinking like they don't see the seriousness of what you're talking about, because
Right.
you know, Banky, you and I are the same. Like you are in a situation like I was in a situation your son was in. When I was born, my father was in prison doing a long time.
Right.
You know, and that was the situation your son was in. And to see this come full circle and for us to be able to build up something to where we do know governors, not like, oh, I know who Terry McAuliffe know. Terry McAuliffe know who the big homie is.
Right.
Terry
Right.
McAuliffe
Right.
saying my name. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a big difference. And so we got a situation to where when, you know, Banky and Marquett are friends, and Marquett and so, we all linked up together. Now we can start making phone calls and emails to get our people out when they end up in situations that
For
are
sure.
beneath them.
For
You see, when
sure.
I saw you and I heard you speak, I was like, this man has so much knowledge and he has a good heart. You don't deserve anything you had to suffer. But now that you out, you are now able to be in that position that I was in, talking to Governor McAuliffe, and you're going to only go up from here. And you're a great example of what he did was the right thing.
Appreciate it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the example. What he did was the right thing.
For sure. For sure.
Now,
There's a lot of cats in there like that, man. They just waiting on a chance. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to say thank you, Banky, so much for giving us this time. I don't want to take too much more of your time. You've been very generous with your time. I want to remind everyone as we wind down, if you have some last burning questions, send it in now. And in the meantime, I want to just point your attention to the description of this video. We have Banky's main channel. We also have a channel where he whipping up the cuisine. You heard me? He chefing. He whipping the work.
Pure deliciousness.
You dig? Pure deliciousness. He whipping up the work, and I trust you probably giving him some game while you whipping up the food too. You can't help it. Then he got a third channel, Banky Fitness. Oh, and I gotta ask you this for myself, because Banky is into fitness. He also into this boxing. You heard he's the pugilist. So, Canelo versus David Benavidez. Talk to me.
It's complex, but it's not. David Benavidez got awesome offense.
Yeah.
And I think he can beat Canelo for sure. But it's the same way with anybody against Canelo. You still have to do it, because Canelo is he not, you know what I'm saying, Canelo for nothing.
Right.
And the thing about David Benavidez is I've never really seen him get hit real hard.
Right.
His defense is lacking a little bit too, but his offense is superb. It's superb, especially for his height and his power. His hand speed is phenomenal. But I have to see him get hurt to understand what he would do under pressure, because that's when fighters are made. You know what I'm saying? That's when fighters are made. That's what a lot of dudes don't understand about them Charlo brothers. Them Charlo brothers hit hard as I don't know what. But if you watch they fights, they done took some hard punches too, man, and they stayed grinding. So that's what we got to see with him. This Plant fight that he's getting ready to fight, it's gonna be really, really interesting, because Plant is a dancer.
He gonna put Plant down.
He gonna have to catch him though. Plant is not gonna stand still. But I think if he catch Plant, he gonna plant. You know what I'm saying?
And he know how to punch in combination. See, Plant, sweet hands. He got good head movement. He's slick. But Benavidez to throw 5-6 punches at you, a couple of them are gonna get through. And he ain't gonna stop
at warp speed. You know what I'm saying?
At blurry
warp speed. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh.
man, that's gonna be a real interesting fight, man. But keep your eye on this young boy that's from down here where I'm at, man. He's definitely a
Okay.
future world champion, future pound for pound number
What's his
one,
name?
man. Keyshawn Davis, man.
Keyshawn Davis.
Keyshawn,
Okay.
the businessman Davis.
He taking care of business out there.
He's taking care of business, my dude. He's fighting. Matter of fact, he's fighting Saturday. So
All right.
check him out, man. At Madison Square Garden. He's on the fast track.
Oh, shout out.
Fast track, man. He's
Shout out to
like
Keyshawn Davis, the businessman, and shout out to the
businessman.
ballers.
This is his third.
Daniel
Big
Nwosu
baller,
is
big
a
baller,
big
Daniel.
baller. He
Shout out
came in
Daniel.
3 times. Yeah, he let y'all know what prosperity looked like and what a good heart looked like. Generosity.
Ain't no question.
He says remarkable lessons per usual. Thank you, Peace of the Saints. And it really has been remarkable. Banky Pound, thank you very much. And everyone, do check out his fitness channel also, which is the third link in the description. Also, his IG is there. And from his IG and YouTube, you can find his merch, which is phenomenal. And before you go, just bless them real quick. Did you tell them why you call what the Bethlehem is?
Well, the Bethlehem, my dude, is the ultimate protection in prison, man. It is your brother, your sister, your mother, your lover. The Bethlehem will keep you alive in there, man. It is the almighty, equalizer. You understand? So Bethlehem is what we call, especially as dudes from DC, man. We call that knife in there the Bethlehem, understanding that there is no gun in the prison. But the only guns in prison is the police got them.
The guard.
So
yeah.
The Bethlehem is the that's what's gonna keep that life up off of you, man. You know what I'm saying? When people trying to take your life or do whatever, So that's why we call it. And I have a saying to say, all my TBP fans know, beware the Bethlehem. You understand me? Because it will humble you. It goes in like a lion, but comes out like a lamb. You understand me?
Hello.
So yeah, man. And shout out to TBP, man, for always holding me down, man.
Yes,
and I want to say this, while I'm on camera, man. I hope all y'all out there is watching me, TBP, man. I hope y'all come over here and rock with Marquett, man, because y'all know, who I am by now. Y'all done rock with me. Y'all know, man. I don't just, rock with anybody. And I wanted to say this to you, Marquett, man. I know you're younger than me. I know you said I've been in prison, your whole life, which kind of shocked me. But man, I look at you as an inspiration, dude. You know what I'm saying? I see the way you talk. I see the way you conduct yourself. I see your accomplishments. You know what I'm saying? I see your goal, and more or less, man, I see in you, man, your thirst, man, to be great. And I just want to let you know, bro, you already probably did more in life than most people gonna do to live to be 60, 70, 80 years old, man. So keep going, man. You inspire me. And I'm gonna keep going, man. And I look at you as a friend, my dude, and I look forward to just getting to know you better, man, and watching you grow, man. So y'all salute, man. TBP, man. And next time this man have a live, I better see some gloves up in there, man. I better see some gloves up in there.
Hey, I appreciate it, Banky. It's been a pleasure.
Sure.
Peace to the Saints. Peace to the Banky
Peace
Pound
to the Saints,
team,
man.
Banky Pound, and we outro.
Peace to the Saints.